Hello everyone, Jaguar here, back with another tutorial video. This one's going to focus mostly on the camera. So this is how you start off your game, looking at the star in the solar system with the planets orbiting around it. So first of all, zooming in and out, you can simply use the mouse wheel, or there are two keys that you can bind, but generally speaking you're going to be playing with the mouse. You're pretty hardcore amongst you will be using a touchpad on your laptop maybe, but get a mouse. So you can zoom into the planet. Here you can see I've zoomed into Forge, one of the 1v1 ranked planets. And to pan the camera, either hold down the middle mouse button and drag like so, or you can use the keys that are bound to moving the camera in the camera section of the keyboard controls. So I use WASD like so. Left, right, up, down. Next, rotating the camera. You can do this by holding down the control key, the modifier key, and then the left and right panning keys. So as I said, I bound mine to WASD. So if I do control A, it rotates the camera, and D the other way. On the same note, for rotating the camera, you can use the rotate, the align to pole key. Sorry, you can see up there's the North Pole. If I press my N key, it rotates the camera to put the North Pole at the top, whereas still I think it still centers you, like I'm centered here at the moment. So it retains whatever the camera is centered on, it just rotates the camera. Very useful because it's easy. When I first started playing this game back in alpha, it's quite easy to lose your bearings. It's quite different from any other RTS game in that capacity. It's probably the most unique feature of Planetary Annihilation. You're playing on a planet, you can attack from all sides, you can get attacked on all sides. So it's nice to have a method of getting your bearings. On that note, you can set a key. In fact, I'll show you. If you do escape, game settings, pole lock. If I set that on, this can help you when you're playing the game. See, now I can't rotate the camera in quite the same way because it is keeping the North Pole at the top. The only thing about this is that when you're on the North Pole, it makes things quite weird because it's constantly keeping it sort of centered. It's a little fiddly to use, but it can help. When you're trying to get your bearings, it just means as you rotate, North Pole's always at the top. I'm going to switch that off because if you can get used to it, then it just makes things a bit easier, arguably. Everybody's different. You might well find you just want to leave it on and you'll get used to it, and that'll be how you want to play the game. Next up, camera anchors. These are very important. I would actually recommend setting camera anchors before you even start the game, before your commander even lands on the planet. So I would normally start a game on Forge by doing Shift 1. So Shift and any number key will set like a position for that camera, and then I normally do Shift 2 for the enemy's base, and then I normally do like say Shift 3 for the back of the planet here where you've got these 3 metal spots. Also, good time to notice to talk about the PIP, the picture-in-picture. If I click that button there, it brings up the picture-in-picture. If your computer can handle it, and it's quite an efficient system. Obviously, in a big game, it can cripple you a bit frame rate wise, but I always find it copes quite well on my GTX 760. Then I can click back into the main window, do Alt 1, and it returns me to my previously built or previously set camera anchor. And then I can do Alt 1, Alt 2, Alt 3, like so. I often have 4 or 5 camera anchors set, 2 for my base and the enemy's base, possibly another for a proxy base if I've set up a proxy base, and then others for sort of metal rich locations. Like you see here, you got the metal rich locations, then on the other side you got there, and then you got these ones right on the back of the planet. So Shift and a number to set a camera anchor, and then Alt and that number to recall the camera's position. Very, very useful. You'll probably find yourself using it a lot. If anything, just set one for your base, so that whenever you're managing your armies, like I've got scouts up here, commander's idle, you know, if something suddenly happens or you realize you've forgotten to switch a factory on or something, just Alt 1, back, boom, you're done. If you're on a planet with multiple systems, multiple planets, sorry, they will appear in this list here. So if I click on Forge, which is the name of the system, it takes me to the star. So this is the celestial view. From the celestial view, we'll show you orbital units in transit. As long as you have a deep space radar built, and as long as your energy, as long as you've got positive energy income to run that deep space radar, then if you're on a system with multiple planets, you will see those units moving between planets, if they are moving between planets, that is. And then you can click on any of the planets in the list. There's obviously only one planet on this list, but if you click on it, it takes you straight to the planet. To be honest, I would just recommend setting a camera anchor on each planet. If you're starting a game on multiple planets, set a camera anchor for each one on a strategic location, for instance, and just zoom to that. That way, as soon as you build an Astraeus or an orbital Faber and you want to send it to the other planet, you can just use that camera anchor, recall it, and send the unit there. You don't have to muck around moving your mouse up here to click on the GUI. In fact, you can just leave that minimized. But it can be helpful if you're playing on a system with 10 planets. It would definitely be helpful. Lastly, is group selection. You can change the camera's position by recording a selection of units by using the group recall commands. So if I go back here to my base, I've got some docks here. I'm going to do Control and then tap 1. And then for these land units, do Control and 2. And then I'm going to use the Control X command that I showed you in my previous video. That selects all my air units. I'll give those Control 3. Then I'm going to go Alt 2. Oh look, we're looking at the enemy base. You can see here the commander's been set to idle. So he's not going to bother me whilst I'm making this video. Now if I press 1, you can see nothing happens on the camera, but down here you can see that I've selected those 7 docks. Now if I tap 1 and if I double tap 1, it zooms the camera, focuses the camera onto the units for that group command. So tapping it once selects those units. So say I'm looking at the enemy, I can press 1, send the docks there, I can press 2, send the vehicles there, press 3, selects the air units, I can send the air units here. But if you want to actually look at those units and focus on them, there come my air units, you can double tap it and it selects and focuses and indeed tracks those units if they're in motion. So that's very useful. It's the sort of last way that you can. It's not sort of a direct camera control command, but it's useful. And that's it. Apart from obviously that select commander key, F1, and I haven't built any Fabers, but if you select the idle Fabers command and do the same double tap thing, in fact in sequence it will select each idle Faber. Okay, thanks for watching. Feedback, please, if you have any feedback, if I've missed anything out, just leave a comment on the video or contact me in the forums or in PA chat or whatever preferred method of communication you might have. Thanks for watching.